Hi, welcome back to World Religions. We continue on the history of religions handout. We are up to number 3 now, and I think we'll finish this handout with this video. So we're going to talk about the definition of God next. Lots of people use this word God, and we don't think to say, what do you mean by that definition? Because different religions have different definitions for God. So I want you to learn the definitions for God. There are 7 listed here. I do want you to know all 7, each of them. And this will help you navigate discussions about God and religion and the religions we're going to look at. So in theism, remember theism is Judaism, Christianity, Islam. In theism, God is a spirit. God is a conscious thinking being. He's personal. Consciousness implies a person that is conscious. God is a spirit, and this spirit is infinite, without limits, eternal, always, no beginning and no end, and unchanging. So these are attributes of attributes. So God's infinite, eternal, and unchanging in being. So he's an infinite, eternal, unchangeable being. In wisdom, infinite in wisdom, eternal in wisdom, unchanging in wisdom. In power, holiness, justice, goodness, and truth. Now we could describe those attributes in detail, but I'm going to wait until we get to theism to talk about those. So God is, maybe we'll do it when we talk about Genesis, when we go over the Genesis account. God is a spirit, infinite, eternal, unchanging in being, wisdom, power, holiness, justice, goodness, and truth. Okay, that's theism. Atheism says there is no God as spirit. God doesn't really exist. God has sociological or psychological meaning only, if at all. So God is a construct of the human mind that helps people get along in life psychologically, or societies. Maybe God is the glue that holds society together, but God isn't real. So atheism might see that there's some benefit to having a belief in God, but they don't think that God's a real being. In deism, we mentioned deism last time, God is creator but not ruler. They don't think God interacts in the created order. He is the originator of everything, but that's it. Pantheism. Pan means all. So pantheism means God is all and all is God. Everything is God and God is everything. This will be in some of the Eastern religions we look at. Polytheism means many gods. Poly, many. Theism, gods. There are many gods, each having rule over a particular function of nature. So think of the Greek and Roman gods. Think of the Norse gods. There will be polytheistic elements to Hinduism. Or the god is connected to local people, like we talked about shamanism last time. The gods are local. Maybe aspects of nature or living in nature. That's polytheism. In dualism, too, God is maker but not creator. So Plato and Aristotle are both dualists. They have this idea of a God, but this God is the craftsman who takes the matter that's also eternal and forms it into the world. So dualism, God is the maker of the world out of the matter that's eternal, but he's not the creator of the world. So theism will talk about creation ex nihilo, creation from no previously existing material. God creates out of his own being, not like matter, but God speaks and it comes into being. Whereas in dualism, there's this God and there's this matter, and the God takes the matter and forms it into the world. He didn't bring the matter into being like theism does. In shamanism, the gods are local spirits or impersonal forces. So we have 7 definitions: theism, atheism, deism, pantheism, polytheism, dualism, and shamanism. And I want you to know each of those. And as we go through the religions, we'll notice them, okay? Definitions of God. Now I want to talk about levels of religion. There are 3 levels of religion. I will ask the core question. What are the 3 levels of religion, and what is the concern of each level? This is true of all the religions. It is also true of ideologies and popular movements. So let's look at the first level. This is the popular level of religion, and here's the concern. The concern is for practical and psychological needs. So as we look at each of the religions, we'll find that the popular level is the least conscious and consistent level, and the concern is for practical needs. When we look at Hinduism, early Hinduism, where they have these prayers to the gods, they are asking the gods for blessings, material blessings like crops, like children, like victory over their oppressors or those who are coming against them in battle. Those are practical needs. We'll also see that prayers are for psychological needs. I'm suffering, I'm struggling, God help me, I need comfort in my suffering and loneliness. So we'll see that popular religion has those concerns, but they're generally unaware of historical creeds or the historical positions. So I was talking about philosophy in the last couple of lectures, and usually popular religions aren't familiar with their philosophical assumptions either. So the historical creeds, we'll talk about what that is. Popular religion, concern for practical and psychological needs. Let's say 96% of religious people are at this level. Okay, it's very rampant, popular religion. Historical religion is more conscious and more consistent than the popular level. They're going a little bit deeper. It is what the best minds have agreed upon after much discussion in that tradition. So they've agreed upon it after much discussion. They've seen the challenges. They've argued about it. And then they set down their understanding in the great creeds or confessions of the faith, whatever that faith is. So this is the tradition of arguing, discussing, writing it down, passing it on as orthodoxy. And we'll see this in each of the religions, that there is a historical level. It's more conscious and more consistent, and usually people aren't very aware of that level. We will become aware. Then there's a deeper level of religion, and that's the philosophical level. And the philosophical level addresses questions that have not yet been discussed historically. So usually the historic level is dealing with challenges. Actually, the philosophical level deals with challenges and writes it down and passes it on, and it becomes historical. But there are going to be challenges to each of the religions that we see. Internal challenges are religions that come from within side. For example, when we look at Hinduism, we'll see that Gautama, the Buddha, was Hindu, and he raised questions about Hinduism that weren't adequately answered for him, and he creates a new religion, Buddhism. It's an internal division. These challenges, internal divisions between, let's say, Eastern Orthodoxy, Roman Catholicism, and Protestantism. Those are internal challenges to Christianity. External challenges are the other religions to each other. So secular humanism is an external challenge to all of the religions right now. The philosophical level of religion addresses the questions that have not been discussed historically. It addresses questions that remain from the internal and external challenges. So if there's a new challenge, like today, post-modernity is a new challenge to religion, the philosophical level of religion will address those challenges. Sometimes the philosophical level of religion is close to apologetics. Apologetics is defending the faith, whatever that faith is. Now I'm going to skip this history because I do a lecture on this history within the Christianity unit. So I'm going to skip that, and you can anticipate it's coming later. And I think we will also do these later. So all 3 of these 5, 6, 7 will be addressed within a unit on Christianity. I thought there was, well, maybe this will also be addressed within the unit on Christianity, but I want to tell you what some of the current challenges to religion are. And this is probably true for all the religions. What is the relationship between faith and reason? We talked about that. What is the relationship between science and religion? That's a challenge that has to be addressed on the philosophical level. Can we really know what is clear about religion? Can we know about God, human nature, good and evil? Or are we in a time of skepticism which says nobody can really have knowledge of those things? That's a challenge. Skepticism is a challenge to religion. And then the last one is one I mentioned, secularism and postmodernism. We can put those as two different challenges. Secularism is up here with atheism. There is no God. And that's been a dominant view that has been developing in the West. And since the West is very influential in the world, it is a challenge to all the religions. And then the last challenge is post-modernity, this moment we're living in where everything is being critiqued. So religion is critiqued by others. So these are some of the things we're going to talk about, and as we go through each religion, we'll look at the levels and see how the religions can be thought of at a deeper level and how they're religions are addressing internal and external challenges. And they're human challenges for humans who have questions, and how the basic beliefs give rise to certain answers. So there is a logic to religions. I know people think, well, religion's illogical. Religions are highly logical. The question is, a system of belief may not match reality. So we want to see these are competing systems of belief. They all claim to be true, but given our square of opposition, we know that they're contradictory, so they can't all be true. How can we figure out which one matches reality? So that's where reason comes in. We're doing the secular study of religion. The tools we have as scholars in the secular academy are reason. We don't have a lab science, do we? We can't use our senses to test this out. So the tool we have is critical analysis, critical thinking. And that's what we're going to do as we go into each of the religions. Think critically. Now, as I mentioned, we're going to start studying religions by looking at origin stories. So the next video, the next series of videos will be on Genesis, the book of Genesis, and you have a reading in the textbook on Genesis. This is a series of videos that I also use for my Intro to Christianity class. So there may be some mention of Christianity in the videos, but that's because I use it for 2 classes. So this is my introduction to that series on Genesis. Your job is to go and read Genesis chapters 1, 2, and 3, and I'll provide a link for that. Go read Genesis 1, 2, and 3, and I will go over it in detail. And that will begin our study of religion. All right, thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.